All right, folks, welcome back to the News Sentinel. I'm Major Ethan Graves, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Duke Johnson. Today, we're diving into the aftermath of the Iran-Israel ceasefire, specifically the wild claims of victory coming out of Tehran. Duke, you catch Khamenei's speech?
Oh, I caught it, Sentinel. I mean, you gotta hand it to the guy. He's got guts, standing up there, chest out, talking about how Iran crushed Israel and slapped the U.S. in the face. Meanwhile, half his nuclear program's in a smoking heap, and his generals are, well, not around to hear the speech. It's classic dictator playbook, man.
Yeah, it's almost surreal. The Ayatollah's out there congratulating the nation, saying Israel was practically knocked out. But if you look at the actual numbers, over 1,000 Iranian dead, including hundreds of military personnel, and those nuclear sites at Fordow and Natanz, set back by years according to U.S. and Israeli intel. It's like he's reading from a different script than the rest of the world.
That's propaganda for you. I mean, look, I've seen this before. You remember Baghdad Bob back in 2003? The Americans are nowhere near Baghdad, while tanks are rolling in behind him. Khamenei's doing the same thing, broadcasting victory speeches, flooding state media, trying to keep the people in line. It's all about controlling the story at home, not telling the truth.
Exactly. It reminds me of those old Eward radio broadcasts, Axis Sally, Tokyo Rose, where the whole point was to keep morale up, even when the facts on the ground were, well, not so rosy. Khamenei's speech is less about what happened and more about what he needs his people to believe. And with the regime's tight grip on media, dissent doesn't get much airtime.
Yeah, and let's not forget, he's got a reason to double down. Iran's hurting, economically, militarily, diplomatically. Suspending IAEA cooperation, that's just another way to show defiance, but it's going to cost them. But for now, he's got the victory banners up, even if the ruins are still smoldering.
So, while Khamenei's out there declaring victory, you've got President Trump and Defense Secretary Hegseth on the other side, holding press conferences, showing off strike footage, and basically saying, no, we obliterated those sites. It's a full-on battle of narratives, and the media's caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, and the media's not exactly helping. You got CNN, New York Times, all running with these early, low-confidence reports. Maybe the strikes only set Iran back a few months. Then the Pentagon comes out swinging, releases bunker buster test footage, says, no, look, we buried those sites under a mountain. And Israeli intelligence? They're saying the same thing. Fordow's got internal collapse, centrifuges are toast. But the public's left wondering who to believe.
It's the fog of war. Just like we talked about in our last episode, you've got leaks, half-truths, and everyone's spinning the story to fit their agenda. Trump's out there calling the media scum, Hegseth's doubling down, and the Israelis are quietly confirming the damage. Meanwhile, Iran's state TV is running victory parades. It's a mess.
Let me tell you, Sentinel, I've seen this up close. When I was deployed, information warfare was half the battle. You'd have locals getting one story from their government, another from us, and then rumors flying everywhere. The truth gets lost in the noise. And here, it's the same. Each side's got their own facts, and the average Joe is just trying to make sense of it all.
And the stakes are high. If the public buys into the wrong narrative, it shapes policy. It shapes morale. It shapes what happens next. That's why both sides are fighting so hard for control of the story. It's not just about bombs and bunkers. It's about who gets to write the history books.
And you know, the Pentagon's not just defending the mission, they're defending the troops. Trump's talking about how hard those pilots worked, how dangerous the mission was. If the media downplays it, it's not just about politics. It's about respect for the people who pulled it off. That's why you see so much emotion in these pressers.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, the facts are still coming in. But one thing's clear. The narrative war is just as fierce as the shooting war was. So, let's talk about what comes next. Iran's suspended cooperation with the IAEA, which is a big deal. That's likely to trigger new sanctions, maybe even more diplomatic isolation. The regime's doubling down on hardline messaging, trying to rally nationalist pride. But there's a risk there. If the truth about the losses gets out, moderates and the international community could push back hard.
Yeah, and you can already see cracks. The hardliners are out in force, but there's always that undercurrent of resistance. I mean, look at the underground church movement in Iran. It's not something you hear about on state TV, but it's there. People pushing back against the regime's narrative, even at huge personal risk. And after the Fordow strike, you gotta wonder how many more folks are questioning what they're being told.
That's a good point. The Fordow strike wasn't just a military blow. It sent shockwaves through Iranian society. When the regime says, "We won," but people see the reality, ruined sites, lost family members, economic pain, it creates space for dissent, even if it's underground. And with sanctions likely to bite harder, that pressure's only going to grow.
And the regime's not exactly adaptable. They're doubling down on the same old playbook. Blame the West, rally the base, crack down on dissent. But history shows you can only keep the lid on so long. Eventually, the truth leaks out, and people start asking questions. That's when things get interesting.
Yeah, and as we look ahead, the big question is whether Iran can keep up the act, or if the cracks start to widen. The international community's watching, sanctions are looming, and inside Iran, the battle for hearts and minds is far from over.
That's right. The propaganda war's not done, and neither are we. We'll be keeping an eye on how this plays out, on the ground, in the media, and behind closed doors. Sentinel, always a pleasure breaking it down with you.
Likewise, Duke. Thanks to everyone for tuning in to the new Sentinel. We'll be back soon with more deep dives, and I'm sure plenty more to argue about. Stay sharp out there, folks.
Take care, y'all. Out.